Now, in other news, former President Olusegun Obasanjo has called for the emergence of what he called new transformational leaders who will lead by example. He said if such leaders are eventually found, citizens should make the best of them. Obasanjo spoke in Lagos at the Africa Methodist Council Heads of Conference Summit and Women's Movement Leadership Summit, where he was the chairman of the public lecture. Obasanjo, in his opening remarks, said insecurity had made the country a dangerous place filled with suffering and hunger. Well, Arise analyst Dayo Sobowale joins us now to share his perspective on the comment by the former president on the state of the nation. He'll also be looking at the leadership process in Nigeria and where such transformational leaders would come from, as advocated by former President Obasanjo. Good afternoon, Mr. Sobowale. Great to have you.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure of being here as usual.
Right, getting straight into it. There's a lot to unpack because a lot was said by the former president. But I'd love to get your initial thoughts on this notion of transformational leaders.
He was supposed to be a transformational leader, but the rest is history. I think he made the call in good faith. I will address it in good faith. And again, he made it as a religious gathering. A religious gathering. And he said all of us should aspire to be Jesus Christ. He said, I don't buy it too. Anyway, because the Jews never accepted Jesus Christ as their leader, they crucified him. And the rest is history. Most Israelis today are not Christians. That's on the religious platform. Then on the political side, I would say Obasanjo knows what he's saying, because he's been there before. But the interesting thing in that piece was that when he was in South Africa, it was Mandela, Desmond Tutu, who persuaded him to come into office. That's a great revelation on his part in Nigeria's history. Because hitherto, we had thought it was the army that pushed him there. Because I could remember an interview he had in South Africa after the death of his Abacha. They suggested to him then that they say you are going to be the next president, even before the election. Obasanjo, innocently said, it's not possible. How many presidents do you want to get out of me? He became president eventually. Okay, and here he is. You see, this sort of call he's making for new leadership, it's not a new one. He has always been like that. He has always been like that. Because even when he retired, he started the Leadership Forum at Total, which was an internationally acclaimed international relations study group. So he knows what he's saying. But what sort of transformational leaders must we have? We must look at the past and at the present and maybe try to find a way forward. He was both a military president and civilian president. The same thing with Buhari. Somebody compared the two regimes and said that Buhari was more of a leader than him, which I don't buy into. He called Buhari a leader, and he called Buhari a leader, and Obasanjo a tyrant. I don't subscribe to it, but he had his reasons. He said while Buhari empowered the INEC to be independent, Obasanjo planned and removed 2 Senate presidents, and it was only Saraki who tricked the APC at that time, who was able to fight Buhari and stay in power, Obasanjo and stay in power. So that is part of our political history.
Well, if now, you don't mind, just because we have a limited amount of time, there was something like that I want to get your opinion on. You spoke about the role of education, criticizing the removal of history from the educational curriculum. Do you agree with him? How critical is teaching of history in shaping future leaders, the impact of this removal on the future of our leadership development?
That's right. You see, I was going to talk about that. That is precisely why I was going to history. Because the military under him removed history. It is a disgrace to education. And that is why, with due respect to your generation, when I talk to people of your generation, they look askance. That's what I was saying. Whereas colonial history, European history, all that, my generation, we were taught all that. But the ministry, since you brought this up now, the military did not want the history of military coups to be part of our history. But they are the beneficiaries of political power on account of that. They don't want to know that people, young generation, to know that. And that is having its impact. That's having its impact because the young generation are furious at the elderly one and are accusing them of getting us into the mess they are in and that they should get out of the way. For he is trying to talk now. He should be held responsible on account of that. They remove this. You see, it is a generational political fight between the civilians and the military who metamorphosed into politics and are very much in control of our political system. I've always said it. If you go to the National Assembly, you see former governors, former this and that, in the Senate, in the state houses all over the country. You see, but you cannot neglect it. And hopefully, and I think it's talking out now, because some people are trying to redraw the legacy he put on the ground. Get me? I've said it when we were talking about the new national anthem. See, even the virtues he proposed, those are the virtues he eliminated in the former one now, Arise to Compatriots. The qualities the leaders we should have now should have inherent in Nigeria reality. This is the new national anthem.